We like to localize it, but let's talk about the biggest potential national storylines that could take place, including the Texans in 2025, involving the Texans in 2025, and why CJ Stroud is going to have to take a back seat to this. Let's go inside the locker room.
You know what it is. Let's get it. Hey, locker room. Yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk. Yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize every angle's what we really do. We the source. We the pulse of the city too. Landlocked. Got the game in the headlock.
Localizing it is what we do around here. It is the locker room, number one source for Texans digital content. You can see me here throughout the week. 10:30 p.m. Also on SNL with Cody Stutes, 4 o'clock Monday through Friday. And localizing it is what we do. It is a Texans channel involving myself and Cody Stutes and on my individual channel as well. But national storylines are also exciting as well. Whenever someone brings up the Texans on the national stage, it means that locally there's exciting stuff happening. But the reality of the situation is, in the AFC South, there's been kind of a lacking of star power. But could that change this year? And why would CJ Stroud take a back seat to not something in the division, but something on his own team? Let's just get right into it. We'll name the top national storylines. And by the way, the rookies will be on the field on Friday. We'll hear from the rookies. I'll be on the scene, as will Cody. So we should have some fresh content and some fresh words from NRG for you when that goes down. This is the number one national storyline for the Texans, and it's going to be CJ Stroud year 3 off of the slump. And some people get defensive when you say it was a slump. I say based on the standards that he set, he did not reach his expectations. Does that mean it was all his fault? No. But the season did not go according to plan. And despite the fact the surroundings weren't ideal, CJ didn't handle what he could control as well as he probably should have. And again, how we should expect him to based on the expectations he set up for himself. So the number one national storyline you would think around here would be how CJ Stroud handles year 3. How are the weapons around him? How are the blockers in front of him? How is the guy calling the plays? That's all going to factor in. But this is the final year before the contract extension becomes a possibility and even allowed. So that's going to be number one, but it's not the most impactful one. And CJ Stroud's going to have to take a back seat to something else that I think could be the most meaningful national storyline in the entire AFC South. I'll tell you what that is a little later on. Be sure to subscribe, like, right along here in the locker room. Shout out to everyone in the chat. We are watching a little hoops and we're chilling. Be sure to like the video. The number one national storyline, and I think this is probably going to get the most attention, and we've kind of seen it. Colorado, Deion Sanders, Shedeur Sanders, they get a lot of attention. So Travis Hunter, the Travis Hunter factor is going to be a national storyline. I'm not saying it's going to lead SportsCenter, but of all the things going on in the AFC South, Travis Hunter, you can already see the highlights. How many snaps did he play at corner? How many snaps did he play at receiver? Any Travis Hunter highlight, they're not going to miss it. It's not going to be glossed over. It's going to be one of the main things. He's one of the biggest stars in the division already. And I would argue that when it comes to coverage, whether that equates to the most success on the field, he's going to get it. And I expect he's going to be a pretty decent factor with what Jacksonville's got going, along with someone else that we'll hear about in a second. So I would say the number one national storyline, the thing that's going to get the most attention in the division, whether you like it or not, it's going to be Travis Hunter. Next national storyline, and this is a maybe, Cam Ward. Cam Ward has to be the least talked about number one overall pick in recent NFL history. And let's just be honest. Cam Ward in last year's draft, the 2024 draft, he's not a top 5 quarterback. I know he's a local guy. Seems like a great young man. Pretty likable, but nobody really talks about Cam Ward. And quite frankly, I don't think too many Texans fans feel threatened by Cam Ward. If the Titans would have had the number 1 pick in 2024 and they would have got Caleb Williams and they would have gotten Drake May or they would have gotten Jaden Daniels, I think Texans fans would be somewhat threatened, but I don't think anyone is really threatened by Cam Ward. I don't think anyone is thinking that for the 3rd year in a row, there's going to be a rookie quarterback that has a historic rookie season after CJ Stroud, after Daniels. Now, it's kind of backhanded because on one hand, I say he wasn't getting enough respect. And then as I break it down, I don't give him much respect. But it is going to get a little bit of attention, especially if he plays well. And if he plays poorly, then that'll get a little bit as well. But the Tennessee Titans, I was watching Good Morning Football the other day, and they weren't mocking the Tennessee Titans, but they were just basically saying, yeah, we're talking about the Tennessee Titans. And this is the first national segment that has been done on the Tennessee Titans. And we're going to keep track of how many times we talk about the Tennessee Titans, just kind of as a joke, as if the national media doesn't really care. And I think we've seen it. Shedeur Sanders is going to have more sideline shots than we're going to see of Cam Ward highlights unless he's really, really good. And quite frankly, I don't know what to make of Callahan as a head coach. I don't know what to make of his surroundings. So I know that I started this off saying that Cam Ward isn't getting enough respect. I really don't respect him as much of a threat, but it is a potential national storyline. On the super chat, Austin Jack doing his thing. Shout out to you. He says, good evening to all. You ain't never Swarm. Good evening to you, my friend, HD AV Traveler. Next national storyline is Liam and Trevor. And right on cue in the chat, Primetime says Trevor Lawrence sucks, so why should the Texans be threatened by Hunter? They got pretty decent weapons. They're a little bit better than you would expect a team that drafted that soon to be. I think they bottomed out at the right time with Lawrence getting hurt. It's a new coach. So I don't think Trevor Lawrence warrants his own storyline. I think the ship has kind of sailed when it comes to Trevor Lawrence being one of those guys knocking on the second tier and raising up to being elite. I feel like the national media has sold all their Trevor Lawrence stock. But if his new coach, Mr. Duval, is as good as they hope he is and as good as a lot of people think he is and as good of a job as he's done the last couple of years calling plays, then I think it could be a package deal where we start talking about Jacksonville. Look, it's easy to hike your leg on Jacksonville. And I'm not sitting here saying that Jacksonville is going to be world beaters, but Jacksonville's probably closer to being a 10-win team, if healthy, than they are being that 5-win team that we saw last year, or how many ever games they ended up winning. They got some decent talent. And we don't know about this head coach. He might end up being really, really good. Now, the press conferences have left a lot to be desired. But I do think this is a potential national storyline as to what this team looks like and how Trevor Lawrence handles the weapons that he has to throw to, which might be the best in the division, if we're being honest. Next national storyline, the non-Hunter rookie pass catchers. Tyler Warren, the Colts got to sit around. They wanted Tyler Warren. It was the worst kept secret heading into the draft. And I'll be damned, they stay put, and Tyler Warren falls into their lap. Now, their wide receivers leave a lot to be desired. The quarterback situation, Daniel Jones, that's not a quarterback competition. I think it's safe to say that Daniel Jones is going to be the starting quarterback. But what does Tyler Warren look like? And what do the Texans' young wide receivers look like? This isn't going to lead SportsCenter, but this could get some attention as well. The rookie pass catchers that are coming into the division. The two Texans that were taken in the first 2 rounds, and then Travis Hunter and Tyler Warren. It's a hell of a lot of star power on the offensive side of the ball. There's going to be some rookies selected in fantasy drafts. I know most of you play fantasy football. There's going to be some rookies selected in fantasy drafts. Is Tyler Warren going to have a Brock Bowers type of year? I wouldn't bet on it. But Brock Bowers didn't really have a quarterback last year either. And Tennessee or the Colts, they've been looking for a tight end for a long time. What's it going to look like? Now, he was the second guy. So we'll keep an eye on Colson Loveland, but that's not localized. So the non-Travis Hunter rookie pass catchers, it's going to be something to keep an eye on as well. Next national storyline. And I don't know why this guy has gotten so much hate. Maybe it's because a lot of you people, and I do mean you people, you think the locker room community / SNL, you think I just give this guy too much love. I don't get it. I don't get how you could not love this guy. And that's Brian Thomas Jr. Could Brian Thomas Jr. in his second year with the Jacksonville Jags, could he end up becoming an elite receiver? We know who the elite receivers are. They're going to be the guys that are selected in the first round, top 15 of your fantasy draft. Brian Thomas Jr. might very well be in that company. And every time I say that Brian Thomas Jr. could very well be the best receiver in the AFC South, I get pushback as if I'm hating on Nico Collins. I like Nico Collins a lot. I think Nico Collins is great. But Brian Thomas Jr. in year one, he did something that Nico Collins has never done. He played an entire season. And yes, the quarterback sucked, but even without Trevor Lawrence, he produced. And it's not like it was some sort of mop-up duty. So I think Nico Collins is already getting that elite respect, especially when he's in the lineup with CJ Stroud. But I'll be honest, if I'm drafting in fantasy, or if you're asking me to buy stock right now, and I'm having to pick between Nico Collins and Brian Thomas Jr., I'm going to have to think long and hard about it. And I'm probably going to lean towards Brian Thomas Jr. just because he's done the one thing that Nico Collins has been unable to do since he's been in the league. And that's be on the field for every game of a season. So the next national storyline is Brian Thomas Jr. going to become elite. Am I too high on Brian Thomas Jr.? Are there some haters? There's got to be some haters in here when it comes to Brian Thomas Jr. Is anyone questioning Brian Thomas Jr.? Francisco on the chat says, with the Jags, I feel, thanks to the owner's son, the Texans won't have to worry about the Jags for at least another 5 years. Isn't he focusing on wrestling? You talking about Tony Khan? Is his name Tony Khan? Shad Khan's the owner. And then Tony just does wrestling, doesn't he? What does he have to do with it? I don't even know what the hell he does. But they got a nice little receiving group. I thought Travis Hunter was the best receiver in the draft. And I think they got a nice little receiving group. The best ability is availability. He's kind of shown it. But we'll see what they do. I think Brian Thomas Jr., hell of a ball player. Do you think I'm too high on him? Now, we've talked about CJ Stroud, and I know we always stress here that it's all about the quarterback. We can sit here and we can nitpick and we can talk about what should be, what could be, what is when it comes to a football team. But at the end of the day, it's going to be about the quarterback, and we're going to have to see what CJ Stroud becomes. And that's really important. Like he's got to look serviceable. But I do think the most impactful national storyline, and the thing that could have, and when I say impactful, the thing that could have the biggest impact on the league and will have the biggest impact on the Texans, I think it's D'Amico's defense. And what this defense looks like and how they function, because I anticipate this defense is going to be really good. I think most of y'all anticipate this defense is going to be really good. And CJ Stroud taking a backseat to this defense, not the worst thing in the world. Tom Brady's had to take backseat to defenses before. Patrick Mahomes has. There's been stretch during this Chiefs dynasty when they've had to change ways to win, where Mahomes can kind of not play his best. And as long as he's able to flip the switch at the right time, the defense has kept them in a lot of ball games. And I think that's what this defense has potential to do. You have elite talent all over the place. You have talent that hasn't even played its best football yet. Ask Joe Burrow if he would mind taking a back seat to his defense. I think the answer to that is absolutely. So I think that's the most impactful thing. CJ Stroud can have a really good season. All these other things that potentially negatively impact the Texans, that can happen. But the thing that is going to impact the league, the thing that is going to impact the end of the season the most is DeMeco Ryans' defense. And I don't think we've even seen the best of it. I don't think it's even began to peak. And it's not like we're sitting here saying, well, Daniel Jones just has to keep things afloat. Trevor Lawrence just needs to look like what he hasn't looked like since he's been in the league. Cam Ward has got to surprise some people. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud has shown that he can flip the switch. But he hasn't had a superpower like this defense. And this defense is going to be one of those things that they're going to be raving about every time the Texans are on the screen. You know how they always have that one defense where they're showing the cornerback and they're raving about Derek Stingley and Will Anderson and Daniil Hunter. And whenever it feels like CJ Stroud's struggling, you look up and the defense is giving you opportunities. And we saw a little bit of it last year. But it's going to be even better this year. And I think it's the most impactful thing. So let's keep a really close eye on that defense because I think it's the most important thing, and I think it's the most realistically elite thing. CJ can have a hell of a season. CJ is going to get the glory. And if the Texans offense is good, then the ceiling just raises even more because that defense is going to keep you in games, even when you're not at your best. And I feel very safe in saying that. There's a lot of uncertainties on this Texans team. We don't know what these rookie receivers look like. We don't know what Nick Caley's offense is. We don't know what CJ Stroud's going to look like in that offense. We don't know a lot of things. Pretty safe to say that this defense is going to be good. And it's going to be among the best in the league. And that is something that is about as certain as anything that we've talked about. We listed all the other things. All those things are big ifs. A lot of pushback on all those. But this defense is going to be nasty. And that's the most relevant thing going on with the Texans. We're going to get a look at the rookies. That's more of an offensive thing. But we'll get a look at the rookies. We'll give you the in-depth breakdown of that. We're going to see them in the building. We're going to hear from DeMeco. Just got the email that's going to be on Friday morning. So SNL at 4, we'll have the first breakdown and the first content of that. We'll also stream at night, and we got you covered for sure. And this is a shorter one because kind of a slow-ish news day. Plus, got to watch a little hoops and chill a little bit. But it is that time, and I appreciate everyone for rolling through. If you want to get to know the rookies quickly, and I try to be as efficient about this as possible and not generic. Check out the 4 editions of the Who Is the Rookie series. It's motivated by the Mike Jones album cover. And we've already done 4 guys. We did Higgins, Knoll, the USC duo, and Ariante Ursary. We'll have a Jalen Reed as well. And we'll probably have a Lachey. So be sure and check those out. Live is what I usually do. I'll throw in some videos in season pretty much daily. But in the off season, I always like to do the Who Is series, not the generic ass scout breakdown where you regurgitate what you hear or whatever, but just like some interesting nuggets, some facts, and you'll hear from the guys themselves. So if you want to make up some time, normally we go about an hour. Go check out the 4 episodes of the Who Is series. I think you'll enjoy that very much. And I enjoy talking about the Texans, and fun times are ahead. Appreciate y'all for coming through. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to like. Be sure to ride along. Be sure to always remember when it comes to this Texan stuff, We're all in it together. Hit it, Grifty.
Localize every time, can't stop, won't stop. Yeah, we top 2 and we not too plugged in daily digital on YouTube. We got taste for days, opinions to give, we got takeaways. If it's up, then it's up, we number 1. You don't need to try your luck. Locker room, yeah, we in the locker room. Texas